Hello everyone, I am Professor Mallikarjun Aute. Our today's point of discussion is classification of bearings. So we will discuss in detail how the bearings are classified or what are the different types of bearing. So generally bearings are classified under three major heads. First one is depending upon the type of friction. Second is according to the direction of forces acting upon the bearings. And last one is depending upon the type of rolling element which is generally used in the bearing. So under these three major heads the bearings are classified. Now in detail we will study one by one. So we will start with first head, that is nothing but classification of bearing depending upon the type of friction. So see here, depending upon the type of friction the bearings are classified into two main groups. First one is known as sliding contact bearings and second one is known as rolling contact bearings. So we will start with the sliding contact bearing. So I will show you the figure of sliding contact bearing. So this is a sliding contact bearing. Here there are major elements like shaft. You can see here. This shaft is also known as a journal. It supports the load in a vertical direction. And you can see here at the outer side there is a bearing, and in between the outer surface of the shaft and inner surface of the bearing a rubber bush has been fitted, and the shaft and these bush surfaces are separated by means of a lubricating oil. So we will see what is sliding contact bearing. So you can see here the sliding contact bearings are also known as plain bearings, journal bearings or sleeve bearing also. And here the type of contact between this particular shaft and this bearing is of sliding type. Okay, that's why it is called as a sliding contact bearing. Means what happens exactly I will just show you. Okay, assume that this is a bearing, right, and this is a bush. Okay, so this is a bush. So what happens here? You can take a shaft, and this shaft is eccentric with the axis of the bearing, and in between them there is a lubricating oil. So whenever this shaft is rotating, means like this is a surface of the bearing, and suppose this shaft is rotating, so it is rotating like this. So while rotating along its own axis, it is going to touch with the inner surface of this bush or the bearing. So the type of contact between this outer surface of the shaft and inner surface of the bush is of sliding type. That you can see here, the type of contact between outer surface of the shaft and inner surface of the bush is of sliding type, and due to this sliding contact the large amount of friction is created, and due to that there will be rise in temperature. So minimize this wear and tear and minimize the temperature and friction, the lubricating oil will be placed, or lubricating oil is placed in between the shaft and the bush. Okay, and the type of contact between these two elements is of sliding type, that's why it is called as a sliding contact bearing. So see here, the contacting surfaces make a sliding contact, that's why it is called as sliding contact bearing. The next one is rolling contact bearing. So depending upon type of friction the bearings are classified as sliding contact bearing and rolling contact bearing. So we have studied already sliding contact bearing. Now we will see what is rolling contact bearing. So this is a figure of rolling contact bearing, and just now also we have seen the terminology of rolling contact bearing. So where you can see this is the inner race and this is the outer race of the bearing, and in between the inner race and outer race these are the rolling elements which are placed. Okay, and here the type of contact between the, or I will say here the type of contact between the two elements of rolling type, that's why it is called as a rolling contact bearing, because the rollers are placed in between them. Now we will see in detail. Here the contacting surfaces have rolling contact, and the rolling elements such as balls, sometimes rather than using balls, rollers are used in between the shaft and outer surface or outer race fixed to the frame. So the rolling elements introduced between the shaft and the outer surface which has been fixed to the or outer race which has been fixed to the frame. And here, as the elements are in the form of balls or rollers, the type of contact is of, I will say, rolling type, and due to that the low friction is offered. That's why rolling contact bearings are also known as anti-friction bearings. The rolling contact bearings are also known as anti-friction bearings. And here, if I will compare it with the sliding contact bearing, the sliding friction is replaced by the rolling friction. So this is the first type, that is depending upon type of friction. So we have classified the first type, that is bearings depending upon the type of contact. Now second head. Second head is bearings are classified according to the direction of force acting upon them into two categories. Okay, so there are two directions depending upon which the bearings can be classified. So first one is called as a radial bearing and second one is called as a thrust bearing. So we will see what is the radial bearing first and what will be or what is the direction of force as far as the radial bearing is concerned. So see a radial bearing, and this is the figure of radial bearing. So you can see here, this is a shaft, it has been supported in a bearing, and this is the frame. Okay, and if you'll observe, the force which is acting onto the bearing or which is acting onto the axis of the shaft or axis of the bearing is perpendicular to its axis of the shaft. The direction of force is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft and the bearing. That's why it is called as a radial force, and the bearing which supports the radial load is called as a radial bearing. Okay, so radial bearing supports the load which is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft and the bearing. So you can see here, this bearing supports the load which is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft or the bearing. So this is perpendicular, and with the bearing which supports the perpendicular load which is in direction perpendicular to the axis of the shaft or bearing is called as a radial bearing. Okay. Now second bearing we will see, that is called as a thrust bearing. So what is that? So in case of thrust bearing, if I will see the figure and if I will compare the radial as well as thrust bearing, you can see the direction of force acting on the bearing. So this is the frame, this is the bearing, and this is the shaft with a collar. And if you observe the direction of force, it is acting along the axis of the shaft and the bearing. Okay, so I will define the thrust bearing is like this. The bearing or the thrust bearing supports the load which acts along the axis of the shaft and bearing. So thrust bearing supports the load which acts along the axis of the shaft and the bearing. Okay, so this is called as a thrust bearing. So this is our second head. Now third type, depending upon which we are going to classify the bearing, that is nothing but the classification of bearing depending upon the type of rolling element in the bearing. Okay, so I am just classifying it depending upon type of rolling element which are most frequently used. So first one is deep groove ball bearing, second one is cylindrical roller bearing, angular contact bearing, self-aligning bearing, spherical roller bearing, taper roller bearing, thrust ball bearing, and needle bearing. So I am classifying the bearing depending upon the rolling element introduced between the two elements. Okay, so first we will start with the deep groove ball bearing, which is frequently used. So this is a figure of a deep groove ball bearing where the rolling elements in the form of balls. Okay, and this is the sectional view of this particular deep groove ball bearing. So this type of ball bearing we usually find in our almost all mechanical engineering applications. You see here, the most frequently used bearing is the deep groove ball bearing. It is found in almost all kinds of product in general mechanical engineering. So this type of bearing is most frequently used, and we have already seen the terminology of the bearing in my last lecture. So inner race, outer race, or inner ring, outer ring, rolling elements, balls, and these rolling elements to be kept at equal distance. So that's why cage or retainers are used. Now we will see some more figures of deep groove ball bearing. This is the figure of deep groove ball bearing here. Inner race, outer race, rolling element, and cage or retainer that you can see. Okay, so this is a deep groove ball bearing. Second, cylindrical roller bearing. So this is a figure of a cylindrical roller bearing, and if you see here, the balls are replaced by the small rollers now. Okay, again the terminology is same: inner race, outer race, retainers. Only thing is that balls are replaced by the rollers, and as the rollers are having higher contacting area or higher surface area, that's why the load carrying capacity of the cylindrical roll bearing is higher as compared to the deep groove ball bearing. So see here, when the maximum load carrying capacity is required in a given space, the point contact in the ball bearing is replaced by the line contact of roller bearing. Obviously, there will be point contact when I will be using the ball bearing. Okay, how is that? I will let you know. Suppose this is a ball and this is a contacting surfaces. So here the type of contact between the ball and surface is of point type, and suppose this is the roller. Okay, and this is the surface. So this point contact is replaced by the line contact. So that's why the load carrying capacity of cylindrical roller bearing is higher as compared to the ball bearing. Okay, second one. Here the cylindrical roller bearing consists of relatively short rollers which are positioned and guided by the cage. Okay, so balls are replaced by the rollers, but they are meant at a, or they are kept at a equal distance by means of a cage or retainer. So in the next slide we will see some of the figures of cylindrical roller bearings. See here, these are the rollers, this is the outer race, this is the inner race, and these are the cage or retainers. This is a single row cylindrical roller bearing, and this is a double row because there are two rows of cylinders or two rows of rollers. Okay, so this is a double roller or two row cylindrical roller bearing, and this is a single row cylindrical roller bearing. Third type is angular contact bearing. So what is that? We will see now angular contact bearing. So again, in case of angular contact bearing, if you will see, the profile of inner race and outer race are having some specific profile. You can see here, this is the profile of inner race and outer race. Also you can see here. Okay, so in case of angular contact bearing, the grooves in inner and outer races are so shaped that the line of reaction at the contact between balls and races makes an angle with the axis of the bearing. Okay, so here the shape has been given in such a way that the line of reaction at the contact surface between the ball and races makes an angle with respect to the axis of the bearing. And angular contact ball bearing is having one more advantage. What is that? The angular contact bearing can take radial as well as the thrust load, means it will support radial load, and it will also support the thrust load. We will see the figures of now angular contact ball bearing. Okay, I will show you. See here, this is one more figure. This is a single row angular contact ball bearing, and if you will observe the profile here, see here, the grooves are shaped in such a way that the line of reaction makes some angle with respect to axis of the shaft or bearing. See here, this is also a profile. Okay, and in case of double row also you can see the same. See here, the change you can see here. Okay, so this is regarding angular contact ball bearing. What is the speciality here? So here it will support the radial load as well as the thrust load. Now, next type is self-aligning bearing. So in case of self-aligning bearing, you can see here the races are shaped in such a way that a small degree of misalignment, means up to 2 to 3 degrees of misalignment, can be tolerated. And you can see here it is a double row self-aligning bearing. They are called as self-aligning bearing because they allow the shaft to deflect to 2 to 3 degrees. And if you will observe, the inner surface of outer race, this is the inner surface of outer race, it has been grinded or it has been given a profile in such a way that it can tolerate a misalignment of 2 to 3 degrees. Okay, so this is a double row self-aligning bearing. And if I will focus on the profile, you can see the inner surface of outer race has been given this profile, so that even though there is a small misalignment up to 2 to 3 degrees, so such kind of a bearing can tolerate this. That's why it is called as a self-aligning bearing. Next one or fifth one is spherical roller bearing. So here the rollers are replaced by spherical rollers. Means suppose you can see this is a roller. Okay. Now what is a spherical roller? The roller is in the form of a sphere, spherical roller. This is called as a spherical roller. Okay, so this is the profile of a spherical roller, right? Inner race, outer race, spherical rollers and retainers. So you can also see the inner surface of outer race has been grinded in such a way that it can also tolerate a few degree of misalignment. They are also called as self-aligning bearings. The self-aligning feature is achieved by means of grinding one of the races in the form of a sphere. So see here, this races has been grinded in the form of a sphere. And here also a small angular misalignment is permissible. So here there are two rows of spherical rollers. Now we will see figures. And if I will zoom it and I will see it properly, you can see the inner surface of outer race has been grinded in such a way that so that it can accommodate a small misalignment or small angular misalignments. Type 6 is a taper roller bearing. So in case of taper roller bearing, the rollers are like this in the form of a truncated cone. Okay. See here, the rollers are in the form of a cone and all the rollers are kept at equal distance by means of a retainer, and again there is the inner race and outer race. Okay, this is the inner race, this is the outer race, but they are in the form of a truncated cone. So in this type of bearing, rollers and raceways, means inner race and outer race, are in the form of a truncated cone. And what is the advantage of this type of bearing? This type of a bearing can carry radial load as well as the thrust load. So this is a figure of taper roller bearing. Okay, these are in the form of a truncated cone. Now, seventh one is thrust ball bearing. And we know that in case of thrust ball bearing, what is thrust bearing? It supports the load only in the axial direction. You can see here, the load is acting along the axis of the shaft and the bearing. So I can write, it carries the load only in one direction, that is along the axis. It does not carry the radial load. Now we will see the sketch of this or picture of this. See here, thrust ball bearing. Now this is a exploded view of thrust ball bearing. What it does, it supports the load only along its axis. Last type is known as needle roller bearing. So here in case of needle roller bearing, the rolling elements are having very small diameters, almost like a needle. That's why it is called as a needle roller bearing. We will see figure first. See here, roller, outer ring and retain. So here I will say sometimes no retainer or cage is required in this type of bearing, and they are used in piston ring bearings in heavy duty diesel engines where heavy loads are to be carried with an oscillatory motion. So this type of bearing is having its application in what? Heavy duty diesel engine, where heavy loads are carried with the oscillatory motions. Okay, and these rollers are integral parts of the races. So this is the figure: needle, inner race and outer race. This is the needle roller bearing. So dear students, what we have learned, we have seen in this lecture classification of bearing depending upon three types. First one was depending upon type of friction, that is sliding contact, rolling contact. Then we have seen the second head under which the bearings were classified, that is nothing but depending upon the direction of forces acting onto the bearing. And third one is classification of bearing depending upon type of rolling element. Thank you.